Good morning, Lincoln, Nebraska. Happy Thursday. Welcome to the morning hookup. Bill Hooks, Elijah Herbal. The madness is about to start, or it has started. My goodness. I want to shout out and say thank you. That's sorry, I got a little thing on. There we go. To say thank you and good luck to all the teachers and bosses out there today, as probably two of them for sure on work days are going to be super unproductive for a lot of people, whether you got a double screen, you're checking stuff out, or the number of brackets sitting on desks, the number of kids hoping their teacher wheels in the cart or opens up the smart board to put some games on. Good luck and thank you for, preparing our youth for these 4 days coming up. Good morning, Elijah.
Good morning.
It's going to be a great day.
Madness.
Speaking of madness, yesterday, my goodness, hope everybody stayed safe and warm and survived the, what'd you call hellish? Is that your word yesterday? Hellish. Hellscape weather that we were living in yesterday. What a weird one, going back to a couple days ago in the 70s, and the birds are chirping, and then you go through thunderstorm, then you get, some of the most brutal winds blowing yesterday, and just took us to a different world yesterday. And then now it's careful out there because there are some slick spots still out on the roads right now. So careful out there. A lot to get to today. Elijah and I are going to talk each region of the bracket, kind of give us our thoughts on the region, and maybe we'll look a little preview of our brackets. Let's talk about where the Final Four might land for our brackets. And also, here's the deal. I'll give you the time. You have 2 hours, 6 minutes, and 50 seconds and counting to lock in those brackets. I've looked at our bracket, the morning hookup bracket here. There's a few in there, but there's about 10 incomplete ones. 10 incomplete. Come on. If you're going to get in the bracket, complete the bracket.
See,
save it, submit it. Don't just have your name in there.
There was some confusion yesterday, I will say. Schmitty in the bracket. Last night, incomplete. Is it still incomplete?
It says incomplete still.
I finished it with him last night. I made sure he got it submitted.
Huh. Let's just read. Let's read.
It's
must be something within CBS, maybe?
Maybe. I was pretty sure he got it done. So
because right now it's saying he still says Schmitty's incomplete.
That's interesting.
Huh.
I got mine done.
You're done. You're done. We'll send alerts out and stuff to make sure, and also make sure that if you're in that one, also the Average Joe Sports Show has their bracket up and running on ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
Check those guys out because they're nearing 100 brackets. We're across the 30ish.
Yeah,
you guys got to, again, a lot of fun to compete against some of the, air quote, the sports guys.
See, with an open bracket, I do wonder how many of these people actually are listeners of our show, and how few people are just like, 90-person bracket.
Don't mind if I do.
Mind
if I do? I'll just jump in.
But yeah, pretty good response there. I think. Hooksy, I know with the one in the afternoon, we for the winner will be offered a great deal on a non-working 2009 Chevy Impala. I think for this one, for the morning hookup, maybe you get a less than functioning 1997 Ford F-150.
There you go. we got some things for you.
Yeah.
On our end, I promise you, there'll be top three, some gift cards to a place where you can get some good food. How about that?
Yeah.
Top three. We're going to pay out the top three for hanging out, but we're going to get to our brackets. Also, we talk a little Husker baseball, the Husker hoops, just a lot going on today. And I'm also interested in people that are out there, if you're listening and or on this stream. Just let us know what your plan is for the next few days. I like to know what those are, like where you're going, do you have a routine of a madness? Is there a particular food that you're looking forward to eating? There's a place you go. Just let us know. Or you can call us today, 402-489-1240. What this time means to you. I still go back for me, 80s and 90s between be junior high and high school and all that stuff. I envision that AV cart rolling in, right? With the big old TV that's strapped, and you're like, oh, you're the best teacher ever. And you knew what you're about to do. Now, growing up in North Carolina, it was a big deal, right? Because always the Tar Heels were playing, and you knew you were going to get a chance, if you were in a certain class, you're going to get a chance to watch the Tar Heels play. Or if you're a Puke fan, you always had that vision too. My kids are hoping, especially my middle kid, he's hoping that the smart boards are cranked up and rolling about 11:15 today.
Well, I was talking about this yesterday with you about the cool teachers that make sure to get the NCAA tournament games on. My roommate, middle school teacher, I got him signed in with my YouTube TV account to make sure that he could have every game on for his kids.
See, you are helping the future of America.
I signed him in. I said, "You guys gonna watch the games?" He said, "Yeah, I think we're gonna try to pull him up. I don't quite know how." I was like, "I don't quite know."
Listen,
March Madness Live. Sign with my TV provider every game, all the time. You can do quad box.
Make this work, okay?
Yeah.
Make this work, teachers. Don't fight it. Just let it go.
100%.
Don't fight this. It's only for 2 days, okay? Don't fight it. I promise you the kids will love you for it. They'll act better in your classes, I guarantee it. Right? If not, they're going to be on their, certain places and schools, they might be on their phones anyway. You know? One of my kids' teachers, actually both of them, sent them home with brackets. They have a class bracket challenge. That's what I'm talking about. I'm grabbing a bracket so I can look at it as we start to talk about these. Yeah. It's not mine, but I do just have the.
Is it empty or is that Schmitty's?
It must be Schmitty's.
Yeah, see, I put my name at the top.
I won't give his picks away.
One of the things that I did was I filled out the paper bracket on Monday whenever I filled out the brackets online as well. And I have definitely been amending my bracket as the week goes on.
That's all right.
I've been getting some more information. I've been diving into games.
Yeah, that's all right.
Sometimes you got to amend as you go. So it's going to be interesting once we finally go through our bracket here to see what I actually ended up changing from my original bracket.
I'll probably bring mine up too. I should, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring mine up. That way we have it. It did, by the way, last night we got all filled in. We have now got to the 64. If you caught him last night or if you didn't, Mount St. Mary's gets it done by 11 over American last night. So they advance and they get the pleasure and the honor of going on and playing Duke. Welcome to the official bracket. The nightcap was exciting, by the way, in that game. Texas jumped out to a big lead in this one for a while, up 8.5. And Xavier said, hold on a minute. We're good. Scored 47, outscored Texas 47-33 in the second half to win, to advance. There's the first question we asked, right? The SEC. What was the bottom side of the SEC like? We got an answer last night on one of them. Texas bows out, Xavier in, and they get Illinois in that matchup, which will be an interesting matchup, I think, going forward with that one.
Yeah, well, Illinois, they kind of Jekyll and Hyde a little bit as well. You know,
sometimes I just don't know about them.
Sometimes I just don't know. Other times it's like, man, this is a team that could go and make an Elite Eight run.
Yeah.
Who's the one Eastern European guy they got?
Oh God, he's got. I forget his name.
No, what's his name?
I forget his name. Oh, he's a
Kasparis. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce his last name.
Kasparis. Bless you.
Kasparis is what we're gonna go with. Yeah. He's a guy that I think can win a whole bunch of games for him. Young cat. Played for Barcelona before this. Type of guy that if he in his first March Madness can get things going, that Illinois team, I mean, like
it could.
An Illinois-Kentucky matchup could be a lot of fun. That could be a 1-90 type game. Illinois-Tennessee, if they can get past Kentucky, could be a first. I mean, first they got to get past Xavier, but.
Well, let's do this. You want to start? Let's go region. Let's look at a region. And then we'll do region, and then we'll talk about games today that we really like. We did that a little bit yesterday, but it's going to kill. Let's go up and then number one seed overall. Let's look at that with Auburn and look how that shakes out. Obviously, Auburn is going to get Alabama State to start.
I got Alabama State.
Absolutely.
Just
yeah,
kidding.
that'd be well. Whatever your formula.
Is this a rivalry?
Yeah, whatever formula that you've used. There might be some people that have said that. Who knows? But that, I mean, obviously Auburn should and most likely should advance, as we know that since 2018, 22-2, the ones versus the twos, ones versus the 16s only happened twice.
What is the line on that game? It's got to be more than 20, right?
It's got to be.
It is 32.5. Auburn is favored.
Oh my!
You taking Auburn by 32.5?
Absolutely.
I think I am too.
Drop the hammer on that one.
That's I think that's like a 90-50 ball game. We'll see though.
My goodness, I didn't even see that coming. Well, you got Auburn there. I think as we go down through these games, that next matchup, that 8-9 matchup, is really intriguing for a lot of people, a lot of reasons. Storylines upon storylines when we look at it. Louisville, Creighton, 8-9s. That's been a very weird spot for people. 9s have an advantage since 2018 in those matchups. Mm-hmm. You got Creighton, obviously got the storyline with the turnaround at Louisville, and it's been led by Chucky Hepburn.
I've struggled with this one all week.
I think a lot. That's 8-9's 50-50. Yeah. But the 9s have come out on the top side of this quite a bit.
Yes, they have. The way I see this game is I think Creighton has, Kalkbrenner and Ashworth they're both great. Ashworth can knock it down from anywhere. Kalkbrenner, that presence down low, both offensively and defensively. Louisville's going to have like 3 guys probably doing work on Kalkbrenner at once to try to slow him down. That's what you got to do. I think, though, Louisville, from a starting 5 perspective, they play really well together. They're the only team in America that's had 4 different players score 30-plus this year. They can beat you in a lot of different ways. So I think I give the talent advantage, slight edge to Louisville. It's right in their backyard. Playing over in Lexington, that is 100%. Louisville fans are going to travel, especially given how the last couple of years have gone. They're excited to see their team back in the tournament. That's going to be a rocking crowd for Louisville. Give the advantage there, but coaching-wise, 100% I give it to McDermott.
Absolutely.
McDermott's the more experienced coach. He's been there. He's done that. Creighton always seems to go on runs, especially as of late in the NCAA tournament. Don't want to bet against that, but I think the home court advantage is too much for me. I think I got to go with Louisville.
I agree.
I was on Creighton most of the week just because of the McDermott factor, but four different players who put up 30 points for you in a game this season is a lot, and it leads the country. Don't see it very often. They can get wins in a lot of different places. I know Jeff Moats down the hall is probably listening in and shaking his head because McDermott is the better coach. You don't want to bet against good coaching this time of year. But I think I'm going to do it. I'm rocking with Louisville. I changed that pick last night.
I like that. I am on the Blue Jays. I am on there. I think this will be an interesting. I like I get the home court advantage, the coaching. I think that's where it's at. I think the experience being there, the experience doing it with the roster you got. Louisville, they're good. If you look at the stats when you line these two teams up together, just stat wise, there's about as close of a matchup as you're going to get. It feels like 8-9 when you look at points per game, turnovers per game are the same. Rebounds are exactly the same when you look at this. The question is going to be is what you just talked about. Creighton can knock it down. If you commit so many guys to Kalkbrenner and those wide open threes that could get knocked down, Creighton has the ability to shoot it from a really high percentage outside. If they do that, then the lane opens up. Louisville's in for some trouble. That's where I see this game is. I feel like it's Nebraska kind of laid the groundwork on how to do that with Kalkbrenner. Can Louisville close out? That's the big one. And can they knock those shots down? And I think there might be, if you're talking home court advantage, there might be a little pressure on Louisville with all those fans there. How does that translate?
Especially given how much turnover there was last year with that roster.
I went with Creighton in this one.
Fair enough. That's a toss-up game, though.
I
think the line has that Louisville 2.5. So
I've seen it.
Close to toss-up.
It's coming down because if you look at some sites, it was at 3.5. Now it's coming down, and you're seeing money kind of float towards Creighton a little bit.
That's first game of the day today. 11:15.
Oh my goodness! Then you go Michigan and UC San Diego. This is so interesting.
This is one that I've flip-flopped on multiple times this week as well. I've gone from UC San Diego to Michigan, back to UC San Diego. I'm on Michigan now. I'll tell you why.
Go for it, because I'm on Michigan too.
Yeah.
I think this is one of those picks that's you're thinking too much about it. You're looking at the line and you're overthinking it. I think Michigan's 7-footers they're good.
Yep.
They're the better team, and Dusty Macon coach, he's been here.
100% agree with you. UC San Diego hasn't had a guy like Wolf that can, pick the ball up full court, lead the break himself, distribute from 7 foot, take the ball in the high post, distribute from 7 foot. They haven't dealt with a guy like that. UC San Diego has a big lineup for their conference. All their starters stand taller. I think it's 6'4" or taller, but they don't have a 7-footer. I think their tallest guy in the court 6'10". I think they're going to struggle with the 7-footers. The question is if UC San Diego can hang around with them early and put a little pressure on Michigan, that's where you see Michigan start turning the basketball over, having some issues. UC San Diego, great at forcing turnovers, getting out in transition. But again, they haven't done it against 7-footers. So I think if it's a tight game, 5 minutes into the second half, I think you can see Michigan get sloppy and UC San Diego pull the upset. But I think Michigan with those 2 7-footers starts to flex their muscle a little bit. I got Michigan winning it.
You're speaking my language. I think this is just one that's a super sexy upset, and I just don't think it's there.
And that
the
also
7-footers just get up and down the floor.
When you're a sexy upset pick, whenever it's only what is the line?
2.5. I thought I saw it at
really tight. That's bulletin board material for Michigan. They're a good basketball team. Their coach, what's his name?
Dusty May.
Took FAU on multiple runs in the conference or the NCAA tournament. Just went through a great run through the Big Ten tournament. I think he's a good coach in tournaments such as this. I got them first round.
We're exactly the same. That's a 9:00 tip tonight if you're up late and you're watching games.
I'll be watching.
After that, Texas A&M and Yale. This is another one that's out there. I think this line's around 7.5. Texas A&M. A&M's too good for them. That's another one I'm going to tell you. Don't overlook this one. A&M is a tough basketball team that are returning guys that we all know have been there and done it. Mm-hmm. I really like this A&M team, their toughness. And Yale, it's one of those, which is so interesting when you say Yale or Princeton or those teams. Yale averages 82 points a game. That's insane. Mm-hmm. But Texas Tech plays a different style this year. They're a little rough, a little tough. They like to get up and down a little bit. They score about 75, but they're a good rebounding basketball team that I think will wear Yale down and beat them.
They're a great offensive rebounding team. Yale's a great defensive rebounding team. That's my key to this game. If Yale can clean up the defensive glass, I think where Texas A&M could become susceptible is in games they lose this year, they revert into a chuck it from 3 type team. Yep. They have that physicality. If Yale can go match that physicality down low, if they can start getting rebounds, Yale can put up some points. As you said, they're a physical basketball team, but they can score it too. If you see Texas A&M start reverting to a team that's going to put up 33s.
Yale's one of those teams that can frustrate you because if you look at their assist to turnover ratio, they average about 16 assists a game when they only turn the ball over less than 10. Yeah. They can frustrate you by the way they move the basketball. And on the other side of that, like you said, Texas A&M, they're the number 1 offensive rebound team in the country, average 14 a game.
Mm-hmm. But Yale's also, I know it's the Ivy League, but they are one of the top defensive rebounding teams in the country.
That next game, now we'll get through a couple of these.
I will say,
go for it.
I got Yale.
Yeah, I got A&M.
I got Yale.
I take it. I like it. Ole Miss now with North Carolina on the board. As we know, they've advanced. I've seen that line come out. Carolina by like 1.5. This is a style fight right here. If you look at this, and it's hard. Not me. I'm on this one. I like Carolina in this matchup. I like the matchup more than I like the actual game itself because it benefits Carolina. And I hate that it's one of those you haven't heard me say all year. Size wise, bigger front, bigger backcourt, speedier offense. It's just a styles thing for me. And if Carolina again can jump on that momentum, and again another game to say, I know people are saying, well, they didn't belong anyway. Okay, whatever. They're there now. Now it's a prove it time. They're still reading all the clippings because it continued. The hate continued, right? I like the style matchup here for Carolina against Ole Miss.
I do as well. I love Chris Beard, but I'll say it simply: the Tar Heels are hot. Whenever they were shooting the 3 ball at the clip that they were on Tuesday night, I think that's going to continue today. I got the Heels. I'll keep it simple.
Yep, perfect. The next time I think it's a no-brainer. Got Iowa State, Lipscomb as you move through this. Iowa State, I don't care if they're missing a score. Lipscomb not good. Iowa State rolls in this one.
I'm kind of in the same boat as you. It's madness, so anything can happen, but Iowa State is just a much better basketball team.
Marquette, New Mexico in the first round. I got this is an interesting one too. 7-10, Shaka Smart. They've been up and down this year in New Mexico. I don't know a lot about New Mexico. They're a 10 seed. I think Shaka has the advantage here on the coaching side for sure.
I'm taking Marquette for the same reason. I know Shaka Smart. I know his coaching style. I'll ride with the better coach in a game where this is one of the games where I know about the least in the first round. So give me Shaka Smart, give me Marquette.
Absolutely. Michigan State, Bryant will round out the first round, and now Michigan State.
Too deep. Michigan State rolls. They got like 9 dudes you can trust. They're way too deep. Even if your starting lineup doesn't have it, you got about 4 or 5 guys off the bench that can come in and provide a spark. So give me the Spartans.
Awesome.
Also Tom Izzo.
Yeah, first round. So let's just advance it a little bit. We won't go through each one. Who comes out of that region for you as you look through some of these matchups with you've got Auburn, Louisville, or Auburn, Creighton, Michigan A&M, Iowa State, Carolina interesting as you get there. Marquette, Michigan State styles. There's some storylines that could happen here. If you're an Iowa State team, you're missing your second leading scorer. How does that translate, and how does that change the rotation for you guys? Michigan State, is it Izzo in March again? What happens there? Auburn, we talked about it. Maybe looking ahead, but they lost 3 out of 4.
I think there's 2 teams in this bracket that are good enough to make the Final Four. It would have been Iowa State. I don't think so anymore. I think the only 2 teams that are good enough to make a Final Four run are Michigan State and Auburn.
Absolutely.
Auburn's the best team. Michigan State's got that depth. They will sometimes be a little streaky offensively, so sometimes it's good and sometimes it's horrible. But that run they went on in February makes me think Michigan State's good enough to be a Final Four team. I think it's between those 2. I think I have Michigan State coming out, but that could still change before 11-15. I've been struggling with that.
I agree with you. I think those are the 2 teams that I have the ability, the depth, the experience. I think they're a little bit older teams. The conferences they played in. I have Auburn coming out of this, and it was really tough for me. I like Izzo. I like all that he does in March. Obviously, he's going to have another good run in this, but I think there's going to be too much physicality, too much broom, too much offense, too much everything in Auburn. I got on board with the look ahead stuff. They know they were there. They knew they were 1 seed. Get yourself right, get yourself healthy, and then I think you run through this thing, and I think you'll see Auburn in the Final Four. In my opinion. So, all right, let's take our first break.
And then we want to go through the West after this?
Yeah, go to the West after this. We'll take a break, come back. We'll continue the march here and bring you more bracketology when we return. I love that. Smitty, by the way. I won't call him. No. Smitty's guy, he's on board with the both of us. He's on the board with the Michigan State. He's on board with Michigan State getting there.
Yeah, it's.
But I think we can all agree that there's in that top left or whatever you want to look at it in your bracket. It's a 2-team race in that one.
I think so too. I will say 3 through 10, I could see a lot of things happening. It's competitive, like the 3 seed through 10 seed up in that South region. I could see a lot of different combinations coming out, but I don't see any of those teams taking out Michigan State or Auburn. So
yeah. Troy, I think Troy has a great question. Is Will Wade allowed to coach? Yes. Yeah. I think they can allow him since he hasn't, I'm assuming he's accepted the job, not signed on for the job yet. So, and a lot of times
it's similar. Scott Frost coached UCF in the bowl game after accepting the Nebraska job. So
yeah, I think you're good there. So good morning, Greg. What a great day. Yeah, it is. There's nothing better.
Are there any songs you think of when you think of March? Obviously, there's Round Ball Rock, but I'm not getting copyrighted for that one today.
Nope.
That song is tightly copyrighted. Have you heard of all the issues that NBC getting the NBA contract back? They're having getting that song back.
Really?
Yeah.
Come on. There's so much. The focus is lacking right now.
That's not a great song.
This West is the West might be the most fun region to look at, but I thought it was one of the most difficult to pick in the West.
I actually agree with that.
I think there's that first round has so many electric games in it by the who's who of college basketball in that bracket. You could literally see the champion come out of that bottom.
This is where I have the most just wackiness going on of all the regions. It's in the West. All right, we're coming back here.
There we go. welcome back. Welcome back. Happy Thursday.
Happy opening day of March Madness.
Oh, man. Happy Madness Day. Complete madness. We diverted some madness this morning. We just leave it at that. We're here.
Oh, we can get into it.
We're here. Elijah had a little madness this morning, and it all worked out. We saved the day.
We're here.
We're here. If we told you what happened and they told you the fact that we had about 60 seconds to spare to get on the air, don't be surprised.
I'm here. I don't know how I'm getting home, but I'm here.
No, we got you. I'm open today. I can get you somewhere.
Figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Boy, just real quick on madness before we get into the West region. Here's those things that we didn't know coming into Nebraska basketball as their postseason starts March 31st. Madness is upon them now. As got a little word yesterday, according to Coach Hoiberg, that there's a high likely of a chance that you'll be without two dudes as you go into play the Crown. Coach Hoiberg said at Raleigh Worcester, he played through a bad turf toe injury for much of the season. So we don't know what that status is. Doesn't look good. And Braxton Mia possibly out with a back injury. So we might be down two dudes as you go into the Crown play.
Yeah. I don't think you're going to risk your long-term health for the college basketball Crown.
No.
That's like the other question, which you don't follow up with it because you know the situation. But like, are those guys that could give it a go if it was the NCAA tournament?
Yes, probably so. There's probably things you could do. He talked about Mia pretty much just doing non-contact stuff this last few weeks going in. They'll see where he's at, and Raleigh will see. I expect these guys not to be going as you go there, and unfortunately, and I love all the comments after that about asking about if we have anybody on the football team that's willing is Heinrich available to fill in? Can he fill in? Can we send those guys?
Brant Banks.
Yeah. Hello. Oh man, that is
he still got a year of eligibility left, right? Get him back for the basketball team.
Get the headband running again.
He almost scored points. I still want to see Brant Banks score some points for that football team.
Still a lot left to be desired there. Look at the West, man. There's not a lot left to be desired. There's a lot to be desired when you look at this West side of the bracket. Number 1 seeded Florida, Norfolk State. I think we can both agree Florida advances in that game. Again, when we go through these games, it's like the red carpet at the Oscars almost. When you look at who we're running down the lane, the red carpet here. 8-9 game, intriguing. UConn and Oklahoma. What gives? Do we love Dan Hurley in the team, or we hate Dan Hurley, or do you want to call the pigs? Which one are we doing? Not Oklahoma.
This is a tough game. I was letting last night to determine how I wanted to do it. How good is Texas actually? It kind of gave me some insight into how good Oklahoma is. Texas lost. It makes me think maybe the SEC isn't as good as everybody thought. It's a one-game thing, so I'm reading too much into it. But I know Dan Hurley's a good coach, as hated as he can be at times. Mm-hmm. He's a good basketball coach. Give me UConn.
I'm on UConn too. I think this goes back. A lot of these, when I talk about these, will go lead to experience. Obviously, the 2-time defending national champion, different parts, but still some of the same parts. And Oklahoma has not been a team that's, yes, they're a 19. Hasn't been very impressive to me at times to watch. I think there's more juice behind UConn than there is behind Oklahoma. I think the coaching advantage goes to the UConn Huskies in this match. And I have to tell you this. Be careful with teams that have been doing it for a few years, multiple years, that are tournament-style teams. And I think UConn, be careful, could be one of those. When you lay, I got UConn as well. What is that line? That line's going to be pretty tight, too.
It's tomorrow night, 8:25. UConn is a 5.5-point favorite.
Ooh. All right, so there you go. Next one, I think another intriguing. You got Memphis, Penny Hardaway in Memphis. Colorado State. A lot of people loving little Colorado State in this one.
Colorado State, despite the fact they're the 12th seed, they're a 1.5-point favorite.
Yep.
Colorado State's won 10 straight, I think. Is that the number? including their conference tournament. I think they're on a 10-game winning streak. They're playing good basketball. They put up points. Give me the Rams.
I'm on him. Dude, you look at they've won 10 in a row. Their tournament. They do so many good things, and they've got some good wins on that schedule. It's the line tells you a lot, right? Where they're at. Memphis has been one of those teams. Yeah, they play in that. Was that AAC they play in? It's not as electric. I like Colorado State. I like their offense, the way they get up and down. They're scrappy on defense. I'm on it. I am on Colorado State as well.
Mm-hmm.
Grand Canyon and Maryland out of the Big Ten. It's easy for me.
Yeah,
Maryland.
the big men down low for Maryland, I think, would be too much for Grand Canyon to handle. Love Queen.
Maryland is one
Love
of
Reese.
the Queen is Reese. That side of the ball is really good for them. They're tough. They get up and down. Queen is electric.
Yeah.
They're one of those teams that watch out for if they get on a run.
I just don't know how Grand Canyon, they haven't seen big men like that all year. I don't know how they're going to handle it. Maryland's a 10.5 point favorite. That's about where I think it's going to end up.
Yep.
I'm not sure Maryland covers, but give me Maryland.
Missouri Drake, another one of those. Drake is sexy pick again as well. When you look at this, another SEC school that has I still a little something to prove. I'm on Drake.
I'm on Drake as
I'm
well.
on Drake.
I'm on Drake. Drake plays good defense. The thing is, if Missouri gets through Drake, I could see them going Elite Eight. I really could. They could be a 6 seed that could make it. I think Drake is a hellish matchup for them, though. Drake plays good defense. They play good team basketball.
Are you talking yourself out of it?
What scares me is if Missouri wins it, I could see Missouri getting through Texas Tech, Kansas, Arkansas, St. John's. I could see them getting through all of them. St. John's being the most difficult of those, but I could see Missouri making an Elite Eight type run. But give me Drake.
This is a styles thing when you look at it from a pace of play.
Yeah, it's a horrible matchup for Missouri.
Horrible. I've seen these matchups a lot, and it's does Missouri have the ability, because they're a top 10 scoring team in the country. Where you look at Drake, they average about 70.
Which is wild because they're a top 10 scoring team. The over-under in this game for total is 132.5.
They're telling you about the style here. These teams, do they have the ability to stay within themselves? Because Drake is going to dictate this pace.
You'd think.
You would think. It's just they average less than 10 turnovers a game. Okay, so if Missouri allows that pace to bother them, and again, going back to the games where when they start being heavily defended, what kind of shot selection are they going to get when they get frustrated by a Drake that can defend?
Mm-hmm.
Because Drake's going to walk the ball up every possession, okay?
They're going to use 25 seconds of that shot clock.
These are old Princetons that just bug you to death when they would just bleed the shot clock down and backdoor you to death.
And make you value possessions.
Yes. So both of us on Drake, Texas Tech, and UNC Wilmington. Texas Tech all day long in this one. Not much to look at with that game.
Yeah, I'm with you, except I'm taking UNC Wilmington. I have no reason aside from it's March Madness.
And you want a little madness there, don't you?
I want a little madness. If I just took Drake, I think things get weird in this West. We've kind of hit on that in the commercial break. This is a weird West this year.
Yeah.
And because of that, I'm taking some weirdness. Give me UNC Wilmington.
Next game, I think this game is it may be the most intriguing game, I think, in the bracket. Obviously, you've got the UConns and the Colorado, that's that kind of stuff. But what about a 7-seeded Kansas? We have not seen a Kansas team be in the 7 slot in some time, and taking on I would say, an upstart right now with Coach Cal down in Arkansas. Man, this was an intriguing. You got Bill Self, you got John Calipari, you got all the parts to this thing. Kansas, I don't know. They're playing better now. Hunter Dixon's got it going. Can Coach Cal get that young group ready to go and frustrate a Kansas team? I think so. And I think Kansas has been too inconsistent this year. Can they rise? Nope. I got Arkansas.
Yeah, this game doesn't come down to Arkansas to me. It comes down to KU.
Yep.
Which KU do you get? Jekyll and Hyde. We've talked about Jekyll and Hyde for Nebraska this year. Kansas is much the same way. Absolutely a Jekyll and Hyde basketball team. Mm-hmm. I'd like to think Bill Self is too good of a coach to have Hyde come out whenever it should be Jekyll this time of year. So I'll take Kansas for that reason. But Coach Calipari's one of the best as well.
Yeah, it's a 5.5 point line, by the way, currently.
I think that Arkansas team might be a year away from being a true team that can compete in the NCAA tournament. As you said, they're young. One more year to go work in the portal. One more year to go work in the high school class, get some development. I think they may be a year away. Give me KU.
I can see all those points. How much of me is probably picking it because I want to see the KU fans squirm as much as I want to see them squirm. Could you imagine
real factor
this year in a Kansas first round exit?
Mm-hmm.
Boy, not that. And again, folks, I'm not saying the hot seat is anywhere close. Bill Self will be there as long as he wants to be there, or until Greg Popovich retires. But they will start turning over in Kansas.
Yep.
If they go first round out.
I will say that is a game that to me it's going to kick off. It's an electric night slate tonight. Arkansas and Kansas at 6:10, Yale and Texas A&M at 6:25, Drake and Missouri at 6:35, Utah State and UCLA 8:25, 8:45 you got UNO against St. John's, 9 o'clock UC San Diego against Michigan, and then 9:10 UNC Wilmington against Texas Tech. Of those games, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them have spreads of less than 10 points.
Let's go. The last game in the bracket, the first of that West St. John, the Johnnies taking on the Mavs. I have St. John's.
Yeah. I'm
sorry.
I'm gonna be biased. I'm going bandwagon. It's the West region. Let's hope it's some fun. Give me UNO.
You went with it. Oh,
yeah. I want to see some trash cans get absolutely destroyed in wherever they're playing.
That's awesome. Kind of flying through it now as we are leading up to another break here coming up. I think this could be a 3-team race in this bracket to me. And one of those is Florida. I think the Johnnies have a good chance here. I am not discounting Maryland in this bracket. I am not. I can see a Maryland making a run with the type of makeup they have, the style of play, Queen, Reese, all that. But what I've got a matchup of Florida and St. John's in this one. I've got Florida getting through that. I got Maryland and Florida playing together. I got Drake going twice, by the way, to play the Johnnies. But I got that Florida St. John's look right there. Would Florida advance into the Final Four to play Auburn?
There's a reason Florida is a sexy pick this year. I think it's Florida and everybody else in this bracket. I will say 2 through 13, a lot of weirdness could happen.
Mm-hmm.
2 through 12, I guess I'll say 2 through 12, a lot of weirdness can happen. I still think it's Florida's region to lose. Give me Florida. I think Florida makes it out.
Perfect. There we go. We've got half the bracket done. We're going to take a break. We're going to pause for a minute. I want to talk a little Husker baseball because in the second hour, we're going to get to the right-hand side and have a lot of fun. So sit back, sit tight. We'll be right back. Woo!
Pick's coming hot and heavy here.
Here's the guess. Yeah, Troy, I agree. I'm going to get to that in that bracket, but that Malik Brown injury for Duke is going to be bigger than any injury out there. Iowa State's injury, all that.
He's a 6-man defender that can switch, 2 through 4, we can say. 1 through 4, he can go switch.
Yes.
Versatile defender.
He's just that. I mean,
in a bracket run, that can really hurt you.
Yep. Especially in the long run, right? Like, I think you can get away with it at some points. I mean, again, I would tell you on the Carolina side, the reason they were good in the games they've been good in, you can talk about RJ Davis, you could talk about Ian Jackson, but the key to the Carolina deal is Elliot Cadeau. Elliot Cadeau, if he stays out of foul trouble and doesn't turn the dang ball over, and I'm not talking about like the aggressive turnover, it's like the empty possession, no unforced turnover crap. And Carolina will be really good and hard to beat.
And to get back to a popular upset pick, that's where Michigan has issues. It's not forced turnovers where they have issues. They have issues throwing the ball away and being stupid.
Yeah,
it's not defense that comes in like live ball turnovers. Mm-hmm. It's so much more just chucking it over a dude's head, playing a little too quick. Like that's where Michigan has issues. And if Michigan does that and UC San Diego can force some live ball turnovers, it turns into a long night for Michigan. But it's the unforced stupid stuff for Michigan, just to get back to that game a little bit, that really, really causes them issues. So if they can take care of that, I don't think they have many issues against UC San Diego, despite how popular that is as an upset pick. We'll be right back, but I got to blow my nose. These allergies.
Do it.
These allergies are killing me.
Do it. We still got, man, you're getting down to the nitty gritty. What time is it? Is it 9:46? Yeah, a little time to get the brackets done. Get the brackets in. Get them submitted by, go for it in the show. Get over some stuff here. There's the morning hookup. Let's go.
We got to discuss that old that hidden ball trick.
Oh yeah. What movement?
We're coming back here.
Okay, perfect. Welcome back in the morning hookup. Happy Bracketology Thursday. Boy, nothing better. We're just going to pause for a few moments, though, in this bottom part of the hour and talk a little Husker baseball. The sun rose yesterday, and they got another victory. How about that? Creeping closer to 500. They got up on the wrong box score. What do you do that for? Pepperdine not very good, by the way. Let's just throw that out there. They do have a beautiful setting for baseball out in Malibu, California. If you watched it yesterday, beautiful scene. They got the field. They got the Pacific is right in the background. It's a beautiful setting for a 4-15 or 16 now team. Nebraska gets it done 11-4 yesterday. They get a good outing, by the way, from TJ Coach. Yeah, he had little struggles in the fourth, but he was rolling. You can see some of the promise in what he does. He gives up 3 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, and 3 2/3. The bullpen really held it together for him yesterday, but you got some good offensive production as well yesterday. Nunez continued to hit the baseball well, 2 for 5. Stone 2 for 3. He had a home run, another ball. He had a massive moonshot over the scoreboard. Dylan Carey hits a couple. He gets 3 hits, hits 2 bombs, and you get a big 11-4 victory. Maybe, again, like we said last week, right? When they got 2 against Wichita State, can it build some momentum for you? I don't know.
Pepperdine's not good.
They're not good.
Let's say that.
Did you watch it all yesterday?
I didn't.
You probably don't remember this that way because they even mentioned that. By the way, that coverage, ESPN Plus, awful. Sorry, I hate to say it. It's awful. First of all, when I was watching, Pepperdine is not built for all the camera angles, by the way, and challenge moments. They had one view, and that was it, the ESPN Plus view. And I think Nebraska got screwed on a challenge because half the feed didn't even work. Okay, I'll just say that.
Well,
their pitch clocks are in different spots too for people to look at.
I also wonder, there was a play that made the rounds yesterday on social media. Nebraska pulls off the hidden ball trick.
Well, did he? Was it legal?
That's the question here. And you don't know because there's no camera angle that shows you if it was
because,
legal or not.
Folks, it was a beautifully done, I don't know how the Pepperdine guy, but Stone does it, the fake. He looks around.
That Pepperdine guy, you hear that? Yeah, if you turn up the audio, you can hear his dugout yelling, "On the base, stay on the base. He's got the ball." And the kid just wanders off the base, wanders into traffic, gets tagged out.
Bingo. Now, here's the question because the feed wasn't appropriate. All you umpires out there, and Elijah, I know you know this. Anytime there's any kind of hidden ball trick, you cannot be deceptive. That pitcher has to be off the dirt part.
No.
The mound, right? You got to be off the dirt or off the rubber.
Off the rubber.
It really?
So yeah.
I thought it was full dirt. Are you sure it's not full dirt? Is that new?
It's a misconception.
Okay, because it used to be. I thought it used to be full dirt.
You can be in the pitching circle. You cannot be astride the pitching rubber or essentially acting like you're astride the pitching rubber.
Huh. Okay.
Yes.
Now, we don't know because there was a lot of speculation because I got a text as well and said, did he run off? Did he move quick enough? You don't know because the feed it span over to the hidden ball part, the out, done, inning over. We don't know. in that situation.
But that is a misconception, though, is a lot of people think you can't be on the dirt at all. You can't be in the pitcher's circle on the bump.
Brought that, because I seriously thought it was full. You had to be off the entire area.
That's a misconception out there. It is just astride the pitching rubber.
Okay.
The more you know.
Okay, Nebraska.
At least that's, I should say, I'm more familiar with the
Is that in your
high
test?
school rules.
Is that in your test?
I don't think it is, but you run into it a lot because you'll occasionally get the hidden ball trick pulled out, and the coaches will always come argue that with you. No, he wasn't astride the pitching rubber or acting as if he was astride the pitching rubber.
Okay. 11-4 got it done. The bullpen does a great job for you yesterday. You get the bats going. But by the way, one great thing about this Nebraska baseball team right now, I know it's not going as we'd like. Now, big weekend coming up as they go to USC. Nebraska improves to what? They improved to what? 7-8? 9-11. Through 20 games, this team has only committed 15 errors. How about that? So defensively, you figured it out. Now they got to get the bats going. They got to get quality starts on the mound against USC and get the bats going. Find a way to get this thing going, because I don't want to miss out on a couple of guys that are having some really good years so far. I mean, Devin Nunez, what a year he's having right now. They haven't updated this in a while, but he's up to, as of yesterday, 357. He's having a nice year.
For a freshman? Tried to spark to that lineup, but
you finally got 3 guys, by the way, 4 guys now who've now eclipsed 300.
I will say it says a lot that a true freshman has to come in and provide a spark to your offense with as veteran as that lineup was. I mean, you came into this season, there wasn't even competition in any of your 8 spots aside from pitcher. You knew who the guys were going to be. They haven't delivered. That's been a surprise. That's been leading to the struggles Nebraska's had so far. But hey, hat tip Devin Nunez.
Yeah.
The guys that come in and play as a true freshman, they're going to have bright baseball careers usually.
Yeah, you got him at 357. You got Robbie Bolden, by the way, in not as many opportunities, is at 346. He's had 26 at bats. He's had 9 hits in those 26 at bats. Riley Silva has turned it on just a little bit. You can tell that guy, he gets on. That's a table setter. He did a nice job yesterday. He's at 321 through as many games. And also welcome Caden Brumbaugh has now got there in 20 starts, 80 at bats, 25 hits. He's now eclipsed the 300 mark.
I'm still not ready to take my hand off the panic button.
No,
for the Husker baseball team.
No, but this is what Nebraska sports do to you. They're like, oh, wait a minute. Again, I appreciate that they went out there and did what they're supposed to do.
Yes, that's what you have to do.
It's easy to go out there and be like, oh, and that's why I was going to ask you about that, because I watched that and I remember this. You probably don't remember, because it was 1992. Pepperdine was a national champion in 1992.
They're not that anymore. I think that's a first-year head coach this year.
It is.
Really young team.
It is.
Freshmen out there playing.
You caught moments over there where there were things happening, and they were just kind of giggling.
Well, and the hidden ball trick absolutely underscores this Pepperdine team this year, just in terms of a little bit immature. Even whenever the dugouts yell at you to stay on the base, you wander off of it.
And that one, by the way, if you also watched it and you heard it, that was at first base. Where's the Pepperdine dugout?
Right there.
First base.
Right there. You can hear it's not like it was a loud rocking place. You can
there were 400 people there. They were touting 400 people, and majority Nebraska fans.
I think Schmidt would call that a friends and family game.
Yeah.
You can hear their entire dugout yelling to stay on the base, and he still wanders off it. That just kind of underscores what that Pepperdine team is this year. You got to go beat them. But if you can get some momentum, if you get some bats rolling before you go off to USC, a series victory, 2-1 this weekend. And I think
you like 2-1
for the future.
God, I love this. 2-1. I'll go with 2-1. But I feel like they need to sweep. I feel like everything is that way right now.
That way. I still think you probably at this point have to win every single series down the stretch. You can maybe lose one if you want to go make an NCAA tournament.
Yep.
I think you're already past the point of hosting a region.
And that first game Friday will get lost in the shuffle of March Madness, by the way, because it's on FS1 at 8:30. It'll get lost, but I'm sure a lot of people will tune in. Let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to jump into the other 2 regions of the March Madness bracket.
Rush by as you race downhill. The freedom of gliding with ease and the warmth of being together. From epic sled rides to the fun of ice fishing, it's all right here beneath Nebraska skies. Start your winter adventure at yournebraskaparks.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Associations and this station.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
No two people learn the exact same way. So how did Babbel become the award-winning language learning app? We thought of you, all of you. Take Sierra. As a visual learner, she uses Babbel's wordplay videos.
Today I'll share a quick lesson on shopping in French.
Merci beaucoup. Keith is a be in the room with real people kind of learner, so he loves the live online classes with our language experts.
Okay, class. Vos está pronto.
Estamos prontos.
However you learn, Babbel makes it easy. Try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Save big money on your next outdoor project at Menards. Menards has the best in-stock selection of AC2 pressure-treated wood fencing, lumber, and decking. All easy to load in our convenient drive-through lumber yard. Plus, you can get free estimates fast with our fence and deck design programs in-store or on Menards.com. Don't forget to check out our weekly flyer for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down, get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Progressive Home Quote Explorer lets you easily compare rates, so shopping for insurance might be the easiest part of owning a home. Definitely easier than this.
Psst, honey, what? Shh, there's a salesman walking up the driveway.
Oh no, he's got a clipboard.
What do we do?
Get down.
Down?
On the floor, you...
Shoot, did he see us?
Why are you breathing so loud?
Home ownership isn't easy, but with Progressive's Home Quote Explorer, shopping for home insurance is. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Lincoln's local news, talk, sports, and weather station. FM 101.5, 1240 AM, KFOR, and KFRX HD3, Lincoln.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. This just in, the NBA champion legendary Boston Celtics are going to be sold for a record $6 billion. That according to ESPN, who says the buyers led by Massachusetts native Bill Chisholm, co-founder of a private equity firm. A federal judge has given the Trump administration another hour to provide information about last week's deportation flights and whether they violated the judge's order. ABC's Mary Bruce.
The court giving the Trump administration until noon to turn over information about those hasty deportation deportation flights carrying hundreds of Venezuelan migrants who the White House says are violent gang members. But so far, the administration has been stonewalling. Judge James Boasberg says he wants specifics about when exactly the flights took off and left U.S. airspace, after the administration ignored his verbal directive to turn the planes around and return the migrants to the U.S. immediately.
Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts rebuking President Trump for comments this week that judge should be impeached for ruling against him. President Trump expected to sign an order today directing the U.S. Department of Education to be dismantled. The Middle East ceasefire now broken in Gaza. Israel pounding the territory overnight, and says ABC's Jordana Miller in Jerusalem.
For the first time since Israel broke the ceasefire on Tuesday, Hamas responding, firing 3 rockets on central Israel. Hamas claimed the strikes. The Israelis say they shot down one of these rockets. The other 2 fell in open areas.
At least 500 people are believed to have been killed in Gaza since Tuesday. Blizzards, tornadoes, strong winds hitting the middle part of the country and headed east today.
Dust being picked up from the plains, put right over Arkansas, Missouri, and Illinois. You saw it on roads shutting down places in northeastern Arkansas. And now this thing is charging east. It's got 20 to 40 mile per hour winds. So anywhere from Atlanta up to Washington, D.C. and New York City. It's going to be a really windy day.
It's Ginger Z. This is ABC News.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down, get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
A snow emergency continues in Lincoln. Good morning. I'm Jeff Modes. We're at 32 degrees at KFOR. That snow emergency along the residential parking ban continued. The snow emergency means that parking is not allowed on both sides of emergency snow routes, arterial streets, school, and bus routes. And a residential parking ban means that parking is banned only on the odd-numbered side or south and west sides of residential streets for plows to get through. Also, a link to the LAS outage map and one for Norris Public Power District is up at KFORnow.com with the blizzard story. Former Lincoln Mayor Don Wesley passed away unexpectedly at his home. A report out from the Journal-Star indicates that Wesley was found Wednesday morning. He had served as Lincoln Mayor from 1999 to 2003, previously served 20 years in the Nebraska legislature representing Northeast Lincoln's District 26. He was also the 3rd youngest elected state lawmaker at the age of 24 when he won election in 1978. As a graduate student at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Services for Don Wesley are pending. He was 70 years old. A fire in a chimney had slowly spread inside the walls of a central Lincoln home. LFR was called to the home near 27th today about 10 o'clock Wednesday night. Crews got inside the home and worked to put out what was ultimately a $1,000 damage was done. Happening right now. Kildress is hosting a conference call with reporters about an announcement of new developments in Delta 8 enforcement efforts in the state. We'll have more details about this coming up in later newscasts. In less than a half hour, Mayor Gaylor Baird will announce a proposal to increase food security in Lincoln. KFOR News will be following that news conference, which starts at 10:30. And this afternoon, members of Assemble Lincoln will hold a news conference about the next steps in developing a downtown Lincoln Convention Center. KFOR News will have more about that in later newscasts today. Sunshine today, a high of 42. I'm Jeff Moe, KFOR News.
It can take seconds for a tornado to demolish memories and possessions.
What we have is really sad, really heartbreaking.
Even worse, it can cause death and injury to those who aren't prepared. This is severe weather season, which is why you need to know what's coming before it arrives. Stay connected and stay safe. Get the accurate forecast on FM 101.5, 1240 AM, KFOR.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Boy, what happened to that boy? What happened to that boy? Yeah. What happened to that boy? People talk, we put a cap to that boy.
Welcome back in the morning hookup. Happy second hour. Happy Thursday. The madness is about to start. About a little over an hour away from that first 8-9 matchup to get rocking with it. Hey, I do want to talk about this. Well, you and I talked about this, and it's hoops related real quick, about what the motivation and how Nebraska was going to get going and what that looked like for them going to the Crown, obviously the portal. This sounds like that this is all about the players. If you heard Coach Hoiberg talk about it, he said it's really about the players, a leadership group, and I brought them up to the office, and we sat down and talked about it. It was unanimous, by the way, that there wasn't one guy that wavered at all, and included Bryce Holmes and Juwan Gary that wanted to play. Apparently, Bryce is very vocal about this and said we had a team meeting that afternoon. Bryce said, Coach Hoiberg said, guys, this is what Bryce said. Guys, we're playing in this. This isn't 1 foot in. We're going to have to go out there and do everything we can to compete for a championship. How about that leadership? I'm all in for that. Now that you found their mission a little bit versus how many, were they motivated to go play? How are they going to go play? My thing in this one would be what the prep looks like with the portal opening up. Coach talked about that too, how difficult this is going to be.
And I'll say, for as much as people want an NCAA tournament victory, don't lie to yourself. You'd still get excited if they wouldn't win a college basketball crown. It's not, people are not dubious of this because, I don't care if they win a college basketball crown. Let's be honest, you would. You'd go hop on Twitter or on Facebook and gloat about it for a little bit.
Absolutely you would.
The bigger problem is you're worried about Nebraska going out and embarrassing themselves against a subpar competition. That's what you're worried about right now.
Yeah.
Because this team's been Jekyll and Hyde. I know you'd rather have the NCAA tournament. This is the Nebraska basketball team we're talking about here. In terms of history, you don't have much. Go out and win a college basketball crown, the inaugural college basketball crown. Make some money for yourself. You'll be excited about it. It's not the NCAA tournament, but I guarantee if Nebraska's in the championship game, all the TV sets in Nebraska on that Sunday afternoon would be tuned into that game.
There's not going to be a moment where that doesn't happen in round 1 with this team looking at it, right? I agree. Like, you're hoping this is not just a trip to Vegas.
Yes.
Right.
If they're locked in, if this team's playing their best basketball for the college basketball crown, you'd be excited about it.
Yep. So. And I think hopefully Bryce and those comments have made you feel that way. All right, let's jump back into it. We're in the East now, that top right side with no one seated. Duke in this one. So Duke, Mount St. Mary's, no brainer, right? Mount St. Mary's. Duke.
Classic Tar Heel fan. Classic Tar Heel fan right there.
You knew that was coming, don't you? It is going to come later on here, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got Duke. The big question mark moving forward with Duke, though, Malik Brown. We've hit him plenty. I know we hit him a little bit last hour, but also Cooper Flagg's health. Is
it real? Like Henry T mentioned it yesterday about the ankle injuries, and I've never really had one, but I know we've talked to Dane Todd about ankles and the severity and levels of sprains. Where's he really at?
The question to me is kind of like that, the confidence with the instability, where whenever you turn an ankle, if you got to spat it up heavy and put a whole bunch of tape on there, you're not going to be moving the same. First off, and second off, if there is some instability in there and you don't have confidence in yourself to be able to make the hard cuts that you usually do, that's where I think you see guys start suffering. Less the pain and more the confidence. And I'm not a high-level athlete, not by any means, but I had my fair share of ankle injuries back in my youth and high school sports days, and how it always affected me is that confidence of knowing if I cut here, I was a lineman, I didn't cut much, but you kind of get what I'm saying. Like the stopping, the starting, if you don't have confidence that ankle is going to not turn over on you, it changes how you play. And that's kind of more what I worry about.
Will it tell you something as he takes the floor, whenever that game is, whether there's brace on or not? Well, the brace could be more of a caution thing.
I'll more look at just and see, does he still have that change of direction and that explosion that we've come to expect from him? I mean, the amount of times that he hits that crossover dribble, skies in the lane, and dunks on somebody this year, like if he still has that to his game, I'll go, you know what, he'll be fine. If you're not seeing that, if he kind of turns more into a jump shooter type, I go, I'm not sure about it. But so that I think we'll know within probably the first half of this basketball game how he's feeling. They obviously get another day off. Duke does. They don't play till tomorrow. So one more day can really help an ankle. We'll see. Because by tomorrow, we'll be what, like 9 days removed from the injury?
Yep.
8 days removed.
8 days removed. So it should be we'll see.
We'll see.
The Mississippi State Baylor, little 8-9 matchup. Intriguing.
Absolute toss-up game. It's the first. This is the game that opens the slate tomorrow. Mississippi State 1.5 point favorite over the Baylor Bears. But your guess is as good as mine on this one.
I know
that might as well be a pick 'em.
It's a pick 'em pretty much. I advance Baylor in this one. I like what Baylor does. I like how they get up and down the court and stuff. And Mississippi State,
I did too. I got Baylor, not for any actual basketball reasons. I just took the 8 on both sides of the bracket on the other side and go, gotta take a 9 somewhere. So
got to take a 9 somewhere. Well, the stats say that the 9s have been better.
Yeah.
Okay. When we're talking about it, we're looking at that. I'm on the Baylor as well as their year progresses. I think a lot of people will be looking at this. There's another sexy pick coming up. The 5-12s are always in that realm. The Oregon Ducks, Coach Dana Altman, and the Liberty. What gives in this one, man? I don't even know. I think this is another one of those that when I looked at it, it's like the Michigan game to me. Oregon's better. They're going to win the game. They're just better. I know this when you look at the number of people that have picked this game and you kind of do that side thing, Oregon's a heavy favored pick in this one. I know people want to go, what's Liberty? Oregon wins. I'm taking Liberty.
Oh,
why are you taking Liberty?
I'll
Let's
tell you why.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. They have beaten some good teams this year. They barely lost an overtime game to Florida Atlantic, which they were playing neutral site. I think it was in Charleston. They were playing that one. They lost that game in overtime, 77-74. But they've beaten McNeese this year, 62-58.
Okay.
They beat Kansas State this year. They kind of ran through their conference. And on top of all of that, if you go back through and look at their results, they have won stylistically a lot of different ways. They've won low-scoring games. They've won high-scoring games. Basically, they've just won a lot. I mean, they put up 90 against Western Kentucky in their finale of the season. They beat Middle Tennessee 86-81, but they also had a win against Jacksonville State 59-55, a rock fight game. They beat FIU 58-45. They've won in rock fights. They've won defensively. They've won offensively. They're versatile, and most importantly, they can knock down the 3-ball.
Yes, they can. I'm just going to say they can knock that down. One thing that when I looked at the stats from a Liberty perspective, if it's going to be close, they don't shoot it very well from the free throw line. They're sub 70 as a team. Think about that one. Now, I think Oregon's just very physical and can get up and down the court, but just think about that. A lot of these teams, you're hoping they can shoot the free throws down late in these games. We'll see that. Arizona advances in this one. I don't think there's much for me to say about that one.
Yeah, I'm also with Arizona.
I think in a team that to watch out for is in this next game, and this one goes to ability and age. BYU, VCU. I'm taking the more experienced type team. I'm taking BYU in this one.
This is another game similar to that other 6-11 matchup on the other side, Missouri versus Drake. I have this one pegged almost the exact same. Stylistically, hellish matchup for BYU.
Yeah,
just a horrible stylistic matchup. But if BYU gets through, which I do have them, I have them going all the way to the Elite Eight. Woo! That's why I feel about this BYU team.
Yeah, I'm with you. I had to go back and look and see where I had them. You'll be interested where I have them.
This BYU team is good enough to go make a Final Four, I think. But VCU is a horrible, horrible matchup for them. There's a reason why this line, this is the 3:05 game today.
2.5.
If you look at the line, it's 2.5. I would venture to say that if BYU gets through that game, they would probably be less than a 5-point underdog against Wisconsin. Like that's the kind of stylistic hell this is I think you'd be just as close against Wisconsin as like both games kind of toss-ups. VCU is a bad matchup. But if they make it through, I think they could be an Elite Eight, maybe even a Final Four team.
I've got BYU, and for all those reasons, I just think it is a bad matchup, but I think experience and pace will keep them as well. Wisconsin, Montana, the Badgers should move on pretty convincingly in this matchup.
This is the game that I have circled as the one that's going to introduce you to madness.
Whoa!
It feels like every single year, one of those first like midday games on Thursday ends up being a big surprise that no one expected. As you look, the first couple games today, Creighton against Louisville, that's not going to be a bracket buster. Purdue and High Point. High Point is such a popular upset pick that I don't think that's a bracket buster.
Nope.
And then you get to Montana and Wisconsin. Montana's a 16.5-point underdog. Nobody's picking them. You always have one of those classic.
You got one of those
like before 4 p.m. on Thursday. There's that one bracket buster where ESPN puts up only 2% of brackets had this upset pick. That's Montana and Wisconsin. So I don't care about the numbers. I don't care about any of that. I love John Tange, Omaha Central product. Love him for Wisconsin. If Wisconsin wins, I'll be excited. But this just screams that first bracket buster of the day to me. Give me Montana.
Ooh, I like it.
For no reason other than feel and intuition.
This one's going to come down to defense. If you look at Montana, I know obviously people want to talk about their schedule. I don't really care. But if you go all year long and you shoot 50% from the field, you can shoot the basketball. I don't care what gymnasium you're playing in.
I mean, the total in that game is 153.
Huh?
The total in this game, 153.
There you go, because both teams are right at 80 a game. 79.7 for Wisconsin, 77 for Montana. Could be a fun one. Now, I think one of the factors of this one and why I took it, I think they'll be able to defend Montana, and also Wisconsin, well, they make 10 threes a game. That could really knock a team out pretty quick if they get hot doing that. A team that we know so well that beat us early in the year, St. Mary's Vanderbilt. SEC again. Is the SEC that good?
St. Mary's 4.5-point favorite. That line's been steady there all week long.
I mean, we've seen St. Mary's once. Obviously, they won that conference this year, I believe, but the Gonzaga came back and won the conference tournament out there. Vandy up and down all over the board throughout the year. I don't know. Again, the question mark is how good is the bottom part of those 4 or 5 teams that got in the tournament from that perspective? When you look at it, St. Mary's can shoot it well, but I'm going Vandy in this game. I think there's a physicality part in this game from Vandy that can bring. They score up to 80 points a game. They make 8 threes a game. They shoot 33% from there. They shoot the free throws well. I'm going to go with the SEC. I'm going to go with the better conference in this game. Taking Vandy.
I got St. Mary's for the only reason of it'll make Husker basketball fans feel better. So give me St. Mary's.
This will be a fun game to watch, by the way. Both these teams on the year average less than 10 turnovers a game. So this, on paper, looks to be a very clean, competitive basketball game. Looking at it. The last one down there, Alabama, Robert Morris. Alabama, one of the highest scoring teams in the country. I don't think I see them letting off the brakes for a little bit. So
yeah, Alabama, 22.5-point favorite here. I think they roll.
Take it. Play it. Lay it.
That's what I'm saying.
Play it. They'll be overwhelmed by that group. Now, there is a questionable health of one of their big guys. What is the John Blank? There is a question as you're looking through brackets and advancement of brackets. That's why we'll give you the knowledge here from an Alabama perspective.
You're talking Grant Nelson.
Yes. Grant Nelson is. I think they had to reevaluate some stuff with him. What his availability will be and how long the availability will be a question as you look through the rest of your bracket. But they will advance. They should advance in round 1 pretty easily.
Nate Oates discouraged for Nelson for Friday. It's questionable, but they are hopeful if they make it through Friday that he will be available to play on Sunday. So that's I don't know, it's half positive, half negative. Questionable. If I see questionable, I think they're going to try to save him.
They'll try to get through the first week without him.
Yeah, but they think he can be a go Sunday if they need him.
All right, there you go. Well, you look at as we look through this bracket, look through some intriguing matchups that could occur. Obviously, I think one that I've got slated to happen on my bracket, a BYU Alabama matchup could be a lot of fun. I actually have BYU advancing in this to that Final Four.
I'm actually with you. The problem is with this bracket.
No, do I? Sorry, I did not. I apologize. I had them in the Elite Eight. No, sorry, I do. I have them in the Final Four. My bad. I just look. I have BYU coming out of here to go to the Final Four.
I do as well. They're my lowest seeded Final Four team.
Yep.
Duke is the best team.
They are the best.
Duke is the best team in this region, and it's not close. That being said, I could see 4 different teams here making a Final Four. Probably 5 different teams I think could make an Elite Eight. Alabama can absolutely make a Final Four. Duke can obviously make a Final Four. You and I both think BYU can make a Final Four. I think Wisconsin, if they get it rolling, if they make it through today, I think they could be an Elite 8 to Final Four team. And I'll add Oregon to that list as well.
I'll throw Arizona in that mix.
Okay.
I'll throw Arizona. I like their style of play. Just for fun, I do have Duke playing Arizona in the bet, and one of the Duke killers, and Caleb Love has another good night to knock him out. A little intrigue there. So, but yeah, I have BYU coming out of that side as the 6th seed. Again, for me, also the highest seed Final Four team that I have as well.
You know, if BYU makes through VCU, which is actually a big if, they, especially with how they're playing at the end of the year as well, they can be a Final Four team. Don't be too surprised. That's an upset pick from both of us. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Like, you need some things to fall your way if you're BYU. For me, that is Wisconsin falling to Montana. But I think BYU could make it out of this region.
I think so too, man. That's good stuff. All right, we got 3/4 of the bracket all filled in for you, and now we are approaching 40 minutes or so to tip, and 40 minutes or so to get your bracket finalized. So if you know somebody in there that hasn't gotten their bracket filled out and they don't want to miss out on the chance to win a couple broken down cars, tell them to get their dang bracket in now. So, all right, let's take a break, and then we'll come back and round out our brackets when we return. This last one's pretty. I love this line. I loved it. Man. We filled out all of us. We had to make sure I got everybody up a little early this morning because there were a few family brackets weren't filled out. And I told them they don't count because you're in school. You don't get to come home and finish your bracket. You got to finish it now. So they were like sleepies in the eyes, filling out brackets. My 10-year-old,
you're trying to get your advantage. They're still half asleep. They're filling out the bracket.
My 10-year-old, I held the bracket like this, and I read off the names to him because I could help him because he was eating. I'm like, hey, breakfast. Let's see. Let's update where we're at here. I had my open. I'm saving some stuff in there. No. I don't want to play. I don't want to play for prizes. Let's see where we're at here. Who's in? The brackets. There's still some incomplete. No, 51 minutes, by the way. 51 minutes, 50 seconds. I wonder why some of these brackets didn't get submitted or incomplete. Did they not hit save picks?
That's what I thought was Schmitty the issue was. I made sure, but
got a few out there. Coriel, complete your bracket.
She's the first one to get in.
She's the first one in. I'm going to text her and be like, hey. Coriel.
Back in 60 seconds.
By the way. 50 minutes left. Trying to give that 50 minutes left. My wife and I were texting. We always texting. Well, she's always usually getting ready, and I'm always leaving the house earlier. And she texted me, "Oh, Cordell, doing it right now." Thank you. I always we text each other our days, right? Because I'm always out the door. Boom, 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 boom. Today it simply said, taking the boys to school, grabbing coffee, rocking the radio with Elijah, basketball. And then it went, then I did ... down, baseball 7:30 to 9. I did another ... down, basketball.
Yeah. Once I'm off work tonight, it's going to be fully locked in on basketball till the end of the games. I'm hoping that there's usually like one late night thriller in the first 2 days. I'm hoping it's that UNC Wilmington and Texas Tech game tonight. Coming back here, by the way.
All right, let's go. Welcome back in the morning hookup.
And no words. I didn't want to.
I like it.
The
smart
FCC violation.
But it just makes you do that little. There's great minds to my right, by the way. I wonder if they're talking. I wish I could take a picture, and I wonder if they're talking bracketology. One, Jeff Moats and Chris Schmidt.
I was talking Creighton.
You think so?
I was talking.
He looks a little perplexed. Moats has got the hair like on today. It's not hat day for him.
During our break at the top of the hour, I was picking Mozi's brain on Creighton.
Yeah. What is he? What's his take?
He's about in agreement with us that the big wild card here is a home court advantage for Louisville.
He just pointed to my hat. I was like, "Where's your hat?" Again, we got about less than 50 minutes now to get a bracket in. You go to either CBS Sports, look up the morning hookup, type in the password hoops, or go to ESPN, find the Average Joe Sports Show, go in theirs as well. Do both.
Win yourself a broken down car. No, actually, win yourself a great deal on a broken down
great
car.
Deal.
Yeah, I'm not gonna give it to you for free.
Yeah.
Give you scrap price.
It's this price or best offer.
Yeah. you have first rights to it if you win the bracket.
Or feed a guy for about 6 months. That's all I'm asking. What is the go-to today, like food-wise? We always talk about food, and like I'm a wing guy. I'm going to find some chicken wings today somewhere.
I'd love to find some.
And then they're not going to be at my place. Okay, I'm going somewhere else with TVs. I'll wait till later to get the beverage going on, possibly, but there will be chicken wings destroyed somewhere.
I'm feeling the same way. I know I got an establishment a couple blocks from my house that is one of my favorites. No free shout outs, but
nope.
One of my favorites. I'm probably gonna end up there. They got the wall of TVs there. They got the taps.
Yeah, man.
They got the March Madness specials. They got the wings. Got the burgers. Got the apps.
That's where to go. Just find your spot. Get that food.
Okay,
and I'm also one, by the way, unless it's at night, I'm also one that I am dedicated the next 2 days. During the day, hoops, I will watch hoops somewhere else, not at home. At night, yeah, I'm locked in at home. I probably won't be going out. But I'm a guy that wants, like, I love the atmosphere of people watching hoops and look at all the unproductivity in the building. Like, I know you. How'd you get off for it?
It'd be nice to have a spot here in Lincoln. I know the Warhorse is getting there, but like a place that
imagine being in Vegas right now, just sitting in a
that's
sports book.
What I'm saying.
Feet all kicked up.
The big old screens. I have a friend who has done that for a couple years. I don't think he's going this year, but he's done that for a couple years, and he always locks in on like one money line underdog pick that he shoots for big every single day. And he's hit a couple of those, and you get the videos of their celebrations in Vegas, and it looks electric.
Talking about you right now, I'm going to mention this and how jealous we are. I am texting Marco D'Angelo, wagertalk.com.
Some of those sports books out in Vegas, though, too, it look like they got comfy chairs, like the big wall of giant projector screens that are all lined up perfectly. You got every game at once, the lines ticking across, the live updates. Even if you're not betting, that is just a fantastic place to watch the day of games.
Yeah, I just texted him. Him and I were texting back and forth the other day about some things, but Marco D'Angelo, wagertalk.com is going to be out there. I just know he's going to be in some sports book, laying some lines out there, eating sweet red chili chicken wings.
You got to get, if he texts you back, you got to get the nuclear upset pick that he has in the first round.
Yeah, well, I'm going to
There's got to be some upset pick that he's got.
I'm going to ask him that. And I'm going to ask him, what's the... And I said, what's the sexiest upset we see round one? Let's see what he says. How about that? So, all right, let's look at this Midwest, this bottom right, as we look at number one seeded Houston in that bracket. I think this is the one that's I had a lot of fun with bracket on where the Final Four comes from. Houston against who they playing? What's that? SIUE. Who cares? Houston wins.
That is, I don't even know.
I'm going to look it up.
The SIU Edwardsville.
I don't know. They gave them a 1% chance. That ain't happening. Houston moves on.
Yeah, what is it? That is.
All right, I feel really bad.
Southern Illinois University Edwardsville.
Bless you.
Southern Illinois Catholic Baptist Western State. Who cares? Give me Houston.
Give me Houston. Yeah, Houston.
Houston is, to me, out of this bracket, this region, I should say, the one true, like, I think you have a couple Final Four contenders. They're the true national champion contender.
Yes.
Which is similar to what I said with Florida in the West, with both Michigan State and Auburn in the South. I look at that Midwest region. we're going to get to a couple of these. Tennessee could be a Final Four team. Kentucky could be a Final Four team. Houston is built to win a national championship, and they are every single year because defense travels. And of all the teams in the bracket, they are the ones that play defense on a night in, night out basis. Houston, to me, is a national champion contender. Not to look too far ahead, I have them cutting down the nets.
Okay, I do not.
I do. I think they're a national champion contender. I think they're legit. I think that defense is going to give any team across the entire 64-team field fits. So Houston is the national champion contender in my eyes, and I have them advancing all the way through the Midwest, not to get too far ahead of myself, but I love that Houston team.
Let's go here. So that 8-9 game, intriguing SEC school, as we continue ad nauseum to say that. Number 8, Gonzaga, 9, Georgia. I am one that I love the experience. I love the coaching side of this. I am all over the Zags in this thing. This is a Zags team to me that offensively is a juggernaut when you look at what they do. They're second in scoring in the entire land, 87 points a game. They shoot it at a high clip, 35 from 3. They shoot 50% on the year, by the way. They get after on the boards. Their assist to turnover ratio, look at it. This is insane. Almost 20 assists a game, 19.7, and only 9 turnovers a game. That is silly. I think there's too much Gonzaga and the consistent play that I think they advance against Georgia.
I mean, Gonzaga, I don't want to say underseeded. That might just be a result of playing out in that West Coast Conference. But look at some of they lost by 1 to Kentucky in overtime. This was back in December, so sometimes those results get forgotten about. They beat Indiana. They did lose to West Virginia in overtime, but that was a West Virginia team that still had DeVries at that point. This was before his injury. They beat Baylor, beat the brakes off of Baylor, actually. They did lose a tight one to UConn, lost another tight one to UCLA. But, I mean, they played pretty well through the West Coast Conference season. I know they lost to St. Mary's regular season to give St. Mary's the regular season crown. But what does Gonzaga go and do in the tournament? They go and redeem their mistakes and get the win.
Look at the scores of both those games. You go back to the point you made earlier, I forget who you made it about winning different ways. They averaged 87 again. Look at those 62-58 loss to St. Mary's. Then they come back in that finale of the tournament and beat them 58-51. But then they have games where they score 100. They can do it in a lot of different ways. I like Gonzaga.
And I'd say pretty universal. I mean, they haven't lost bad this year. They've been in every single game they've played. Has there been a single bad loss where they were out of it? I mean, they lost by St. Mary's to 4. They lost by St. Mary's by 7. Both of those were games that were close till the end. They lost by 3 to UCLA, by 6 to UConn, by 1 to Kentucky. Like, every single loss they've had this year on their ledger has been a close loss. They're in every game they play. I think they're a little underseeded. I'm with you. Give me the Zags.
Absolutely. All right. Look at the next. I think this an intriguing game. A lot of air. Again, I've said this before today. Sexy picks. Number 5, Clemson. 12-seeded McNeese State, as Will Wade now we know is advancing and going to go to Carolina. Let me tell you, again, I looked at this one over and over. It is, and people are like, give me McNeese State. It's just so this and that. I'm going Clemson. Clemson is a tough basketball team, obviously in a down conference, but you look at that team, finished third in the ACC, 27-6. You look at some of the wins they got. You look out here, close one to Louisville they lost, but look at some of the wins. They beat Duke on their home floor, 77-71. They beat Carolina twice, an SMU team that hung on with the bubble. They lost to, I am on Clemson. Their efficiency, their physicality in games is next to none. I think they'll outpace McNeese State in this game from the physicality standpoint and wear them down. And they'll win. They're a 7.5-point favorite, by the way. Here's the deal. Speaking out of both sides, I would probably be betting McNeese State, but I'd be on Clemson to win with that spread.
McNeese State has quietly won 11 straight games.
Yeah, they have.
That is one thing to note. And their losses this year have been competitive. They lost by Mississippi State to 3. That's a tourney team. They lost to Liberty by 4. That's a tourney team.
Mm-hmm.
They lost to Alabama by 8. That's a tourney team. Alabama, that was like one of the first games of the year. I think Alabama was likely overlooking McNeese State.
Yes.
Like, really, really, really close losses. They're playing really, really hot. They got that one manager, I'm sure that you've seen, it's gone viral. The basketball manager that's gotten all the NIL deals for the way he leads the team out on the floor with the speaker box.
That guy's a baller.
I think that's too cool. I can't bet against that. And I also think McNeese State's playing good basketball. Give me McNeese State. Is that the Cowboys? Give me the Cowboys.
They're sure. Good one. I like it. I think that's one of those toss-ups when you look at it, but I like the Fitz collar there. Purdue, High Point. I know we've talked a lot about Purdue and maybe being overseeded. Here's the deal. They're a Big Ten team taking on a 13. Purdue's going to win this game.
I feel the same way. I think the Braden Smith and the Kaufman Wren two-man game, that pick and roll, I think it's going to give High Point absolute fits. And you look at some of the advanced, I watched a video breakdown of this one just to see, because it's such a popular pick. Like, why is everyone picking this? One thing that I think is going to give High Point a lot of issues, they drop and switch on pick and roll almost every single time. You can't do that against Braden Smith and Kaufman Wren. Those two guys are way too good. They'll eat you alive. And even if you find a way to handle that, they got Lawyer, the shooter. I know he injured his elbow during the Big Ten tournament. Didn't quite look like himself. Give him some time to get healthy. I got Purdue winning in this one. As much as I'd like to see High Point pull the upset, I think it'll probably be closer than we think. I think Purdue's talent wins out.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely. I agree with that. And you got Matt Painter, by the way. Let's not discount how good of a coach he is and has been. The next one, Illinois Xavier. Xavier getting a big victory for them. They're probably counted as a quad one. I'm sure it did with Texas. But Illinois and Xavier, Illinois is getting fully healthy, by the way. They're healthy. They'll be ready to go. And they're playing pretty good basketball over the last few. When you look at their schedule, I mean, again, it was a gauntlet for them. But they came off winning some big wins. When you look down, they had an Iowa win. They beat the brakes off Michigan, by the way, by 20. They beat Purdue by 8. They got Iowa in a all-out offensive juggernaut. Ended up losing to Maryland by a bunch, but I like this Illinois team, and as much as I can't stand Brad Underwood, I think they'll just be overwhelmingly on the defensive end too and physical and beat up Xavier a lot, and I think they'll advance.
I can't pick two playing teams to go on a run. I already got North Carolina going on a bit of a run, so I can't pick Xavier. Give me Illinois.
Love it. Another game, Kentucky-Troy. I think, Kentucky is that weird team, man. Haven't they been all year long? You look at the number of quad one wins they got, the number of teams they beat in the top 25, and the number of weird losses they got. And credit Mark Pope, by the way, for having 11 new dudes transitioning with Cal leaving, all the mass exodus and doing what he's done. I like Kentucky, and I think Kentucky advances.
Yeah, I'm with you. Troy, they've been a Jekyll and Hyde basketball team this year as well. Their shooting has gotten better as the year has gone on, and I hate to go back to early season games too much, and I've done that a lot this segment, but they got killed by Oregon. They got killed by Arkansas. I don't see them giving Kentucky that much of a game. Some people have said this is going to be a sneaky pick because of the way that Troy can shoot the basketball. I don't see it. I just personally don't see it. Give me Kentucky in this one big.
Like it. The next one, this next one's intriguing. I was baffled by the 7-10 matchup, UCLA-Utah State, because we know what UCLA has been. You look at the stats, and this is like another style thing for me when I was looking at this one. I've been back and forth with this team, but UCLA, if you look at finished 22-10, as of late, they started playing some really good basketball, right? They did. They started playing some really good basketball. The biggest thing for them was they started defending a lot. Obviously, it was a few lapses in there, but they started defending a lot. Man, I'm going to go Utah State in this one. I don't trust UCLA. I don't trust what they've done. Utah State, by the way, shoots at a high clip. I think they average in the 80s, I think, somewhere in there.
Yep.
Almost 81 points a game, 49% on the year. They shoot the three really well, almost 37%. They get on the boards, high assist rate, low turnover. I think Utah State is I don't want to call this is not even an upset to me. It shows that way on paper, but I think Utah State is probably the more consistent and better team.
The only thing that gives me pause with Utah State is they have not shot the ball all that well whenever they've gone up against really good teams. They did beat San Diego State 67-66. They lost to UC San Diego. The big win, the big feather in their cap was back in December. They took down St. Mary's. Really good win for them. But as of late, against some of the tourney teams they've played, they only put up 63 points against New Mexico on their home floor. Against Colorado State a couple weeks ago, this was in Fort Collins, they only put up 66 points. In the Mountain West, they put up 72 against Colorado State. UCLA, physical, athletic, good defending. I'm going to take UCLA, but a Utah State upset would not surprise me if they get hot early. If they can start knocking down some shots, I could see it. But their shooting has tended to go away against their top quality opposition this year. So for that reason, I'm taking UCLA, but I would not be surprised to see Utah State pull the upset.
Number 2, Tennessee, down at the bottom there, Wofford. That's a Tennessee win.
Yeah, this is
right.
a 5:50 game this afternoon. I mean,
What's the line? Is it one word line? Because here's the deal with Tennessee, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I have, just to foreshadow this, I have Tennessee playing for the national championship. Their defense is so stinking good.
Tennessee's an 18.5-point favorite, which seems lower than I was expecting. Actually, This is probably the one game today where I'm probably barely even going to watch.
Yep,
maybe it'll be close.
But there is you have to have breaks built in here. Okay, you got to get breaks built in your days. Like it's a marathon. The next couple of days are marathons when you're watching basketball. Okay, so get ready for it. I just previewed it. I have Tennessee coming out of this. I like their defensive. I like their defense. I like what they bring to the table. They're just the defensive things like Houston. Those are the 2 teams for me that we're going to come out of this bracket. Maybe a surprise that I'll have for you. For me, in this one, I have playing for the right to be there. It was Tennessee Clemson playing in that Elite 8 game to go to the Final Four. I gave the nod to Tennessee to be playing the Final Four.
This Midwest region, Houston plays really, really good defense, but elsewhere, I have a lot of games that could be a lot of fun. Illinois and Xavier, you could see some points. Illinois and Kentucky might break a record for points.
Yep.
If both of those teams are shooting the way they can. If Kentucky makes it through that, and assuming Tennessee can get through UCLA and Wofford, a Tennessee-Kentucky matchup in the Sweet 16 could be a lot of fun. I have that as well. That would be a hell of a game. I got Kentucky winning it just because if they're hot, they're hot. Houston versus Kentucky or Tennessee or Illinois or UCLA would all be fun matchups. If we get Houston-Gonzaga, that's a fun matchup. I think the Midwest might have the most fun matchups of any bracket on here. That being said, I think Houston is the most built for the Final Four. I have them cutting down the nets. I think they are your national champion favorite out of that Midwest region. But man, that Midwest region is going to have some really, really fun stylistic matchups. I know we talked about some of the craziness that could go down in the West. Midwest on a game in, game out basis might be the most fun region here.
With that, I'll give you mine. I've got 3. By the way, just it's crazy to say, but I got 3 SEC teams in the Final Four. Auburn taking on Florida, which would be awesome. I do have Florida coming out of that, and then I got BYU Tennessee. I got that BYU Tennessee matchup, which I think if that happens, it's a very intriguing matchup. I do have Tennessee advancing an SEC final. Tennessee, Florida. I got Florida cutting down the nets this year.
I got Houston taking down Florida. I just amended this. This is my last flip. I was between Michigan State and Florida in the Final Four. The final flip I make, I got Florida advancing over Michigan State. I got Houston advancing over BYU in the Final Four, and I got Houston taking down Florida in that national championship game.
Man, how much fun. Now, right now, I'll just give you an update. We've got 31 minutes, 30 seconds to get those brackets locked in. So you got our champs out there. As soon as that thing gets posted, you'll be able to see everybody, what it looks like. And I think I saw earlier, I think the date this morning is like over 20 million brackets on ESPN. That's just insane, the number of people fill those out. So let's take another break. We come back. We'll talk more tournament. We'll look ahead and do some stories that we missed as well.
Woo.
There you go.
You make sure my bracket's all... I got the same bracket in the morning hookup that I got in the Average Joe Sports Show. It's the one bracket type here.
I forgot what I forgot. I thought I had the same chance. I'm pretty sure I do. Let me look. I didn't like copy paste it, but I felt like I did the same stuff. No, I have a different. No.
I'm just making sure we're all in agreement here. I'm looking through. Everything seems to be. Yeah.
Yeah, yep. I'm just going to double check this bracket.
Let me make sure I've said. Oh, I don't have to say. Okay, my tiebreaker is the one thing that's different between the hookup and the ESPN, the Average Joe Show. I got 131 points in the Average Joe Show as a tiebreaker. I got 133 in the hookup. So maybe that's the difference.
Let me see what I got going. Make sure I got this right. I think I'm pretty. Yeah, let me see. I don't know. Let's see the differences. How do I do this? Where's the save button?
Hooksy, one thing I do want to hit next segment, I want you to think about this. I'm gonna try to find an over-under time. How long until you miss your first game?
Oh, I love it. Find that.
I'm gonna try to just make an over-under line here, and we'll see if we go over-under.
Does ESPN? I was trying to resave this. Does ESPN just saves it automatically then? Oh no, I know why.
Yep.
I'm dumb. Had a dumb moment there. So the difference in mine is I do have it's still the same champ. Let's see if I look at this one. My total points. I'm like 3-point difference. 156, 153. Which is probably way too high, but
now I'm thinking about how long it's gonna be till my bracket's posted.
Well, we got the first slate of game. Let's see what these games I got. Well, yours could come early.
So I got some upsets.
Yeah. Well, brackets are not busted. I think it's like unless you lose, like start losing Sweet 16 and Elite 8 teams early.
Mm-hmm.
That's when the bust comes. First, like if for some reason, like if Wisconsin beats Montana, it doesn't. You're not dead. You know. Like one of those things for a popular would be like not popular, but if somehow Wofford comes up and upsets Tennessee,
a lot of brackets busted.
You know, or for me, it'd be like a VCU BYU situation.
I more look like, hey, if Purdue can pull an upset on Houston, I think that would bust a lot of brackets. If Gonzaga, if Gonzaga can pull the upset on Houston, the round of 32. Yeah, we'll see. We're coming back here.
All right, let's go. Welcome back in the morning. A few moments left in our show for today. Also, to get your bracket submitted, whether it be in the morning hookup, Average Joe Sports Show, or both. Or if you're out there and you got all kinds of other, but just get them done. They do not count. They do not count on any bracket you do. If that, like I told my family, don't try it. Get it done before you leave the house, or you're out. This is cool. That is awesome. They got that is way cool. Way cool. This is wow. This is I'm trying to show this picture. This is really cool. I'm not gonna tell you where it's from, but this is a guy I coach with. We coach together, good buddy. His kid. If I can get this on there. Look at this. That's on a wall.
That's awesome.
Look at that.
With the blue painter's tape.
Blue painter's tape. And you can't really see it.
But they got all the teams.
Look. This is amazing. Like, I'll just zoom in just because it's the Carolina, but he did them all. Look at this.
That's awesome.
How?
The logo and everything.
And they're going to have the advancing going on. How? Wow. Super cool.
Look, see, we were talking about this during the break. I do want to ask the question. How long before you miss your first game of the tournament?
So before, so you're talking about just missing the first game.
Just missing how long until your bracket is no longer perfect?
Well, let's see. What's
because they started off with that 8-9 banger. Creighton.
Yeah, I'm like
that's going to be the first
yes.
one.
Oh no, I'm going to tell you why.
Let me ask you: do you make it to 5:30 without missing a game? Because 5:30 is the next 8-9 matchup, Gonzaga and Georgia. That's when that game should be wrapping up ish. Because that's a 3:30 tip, so it should wrap up 5:30. So
I'm going to make it.
Do you make it to 5:30? That would probably be just before the end of that Gonzaga.
I'm going to make it.
Game. Do you make it?
Yeah.
So the games you'd have to get right, if I remember correctly on all these, that means Creighton has to beat Louisville.
Yep.
For you.
Yeah.
So one of us is not going to be perfect.
One of us is going to be perfect.
One of us is not going to be perfect by about 1:30. Purdue has to beat High Point for you. Wisconsin has to beat Montana.
You got to get. I love this.
Houston has to beat SIU Edwardsville. Auburn has to beat Alabama. Clemson has to beat McNeese.
That's the one.
And BYU has to beat VCU. Those are all games you have to get right for you to still be perfect by 5:30.
I feel like the one that's on the edge of that, not those. I think I'm going to feel pretty good about those in just my opinion. The one that I think is, Arkansas, Kansas. That's where it could be. Because I'm pretty sure I think I got Arkansas because I want to see the Kansas fans stir and like that. But I think that'd be one where it's like, all right, where I don't feel as confident in a pick is that one.
I don't feel confident at all in Creighton and Louisville toss-up game. If I make it through that one, I feel like I'm going to get the Montana game right. So we'll see. I don't think either of us make it to 5:30 with a perfect bracket.
Okay. The odds are against anybody doing that.
The odds of you making it to the end of day one with a perfect bracket are tiny.
Oh gosh, like yeah,
picking 16 games correctly.
Yeah.
That is incredibly difficult to do. I'd venture to say across the average Joe bracket and the morning hookup bracket, there will be a couple of perfect brackets by the end of day one. If we combine the two groups,
yeah,
I think there would be 2 to 3 brackets that are still perfect at the end of day one. But it kind of depends on how crazy things get. I don't know though. I would be surprised if either of us, based on the odds, make it to 5:30 with the perfect bracket.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the odds are way against us. But it'll be fun. This could be so much fun with whatever you're doing. Again, 23 minutes, 35 seconds that you should have the chance to get a bracket submitted on either of those or wherever you're doing it. I need to text some of these people that I know. I don't know why Schmitty's is not. That's so weird. Cordell sent me a picture. She's working on it.
Hurry up.
I don't even know. Like she had like this book of like stuff. I don't know. She's like doing research. Like a book. Marco has not sent me anything, but he did say this. He said they're doing a live radio show out there tomorrow from 2 to 4 at the Westgate Sportsbook. He said it's going to be nuts with them doing a 2 to 4 show in Vegas live as games are going on.
So that would be 4 to 6 Lincoln time.
Yeah.
So yeah. That's you're wrapping up the afternoon slate and you're previewing that 6 o'clock slate. Yeah, people are getting all their bets in for the evening games.
Like that's in that slate. If you're looking at that from a Marco perspective tomorrow, what did we say? 4 to 6.
So he didn't give you the
no
sexiest upset pick. Let me ask you that. What's your sexiest upset pick for the weekend? What's the one that if you're gonna put $1,000 on the money line, which one are you picking? Don't actually put $1,000 on the money line. That's irresponsible.
I mean, to me, it's McNeese State. I didn't pick it, but if I were going out and doing it, like it's McNeese State. Everything that you read, everything you see, leans you towards that. That'd be the one you're like, all right, it's got the most potential. I don't feel like the other ones, the 12-5s or other ones out there, have that potential out there, in my opinion.
If I was throwing down a flyer, I still love Montana over Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
That's a flyer pick that I love, but I think the big upset pick, man, that's tough.
And again, I'm not, I didn't pick it, but I would not be surprised also if, I'm drawing a blank. If UC San Diego beat Michigan, I wouldn't be surprised.
Liberty. I also like Liberty. But you know what? Just because I'm going to go out on a limb here, I'm a lock in Montana over Wisconsin. That's my upset pick of the day. Don't take that. Don't take that to the bank. Don't take that to the sports book. Don't listen to me. I'm just throwing something at a wall and hoping it sticks.
Boy, speaking of something you can take to the bank real quick. I know we got a few minutes left, but man, did you see the Boston Celtics sold?
No.
The NBA franchise agrees to sell to Bill Chisholm, by the way, for a record $6.1 billion.
Who sold? Who just made themselves $6.1 billion?
Oh my gosh. That is crazy. Bill Chisholm, the managing director who bought it, the managing director and co-founder of California-based private equity firm Symphony Technology Group, bought them.
He said in a statement, growing up on the North Shore and attending college in New England, I've been a diehard Celtics fan my entire life. I understand how important the Celtics are to the city of Boston. The role the team plays in the community is different than any other city in the country. I also understand that there is a responsibility as a leader of the organization to the people of Boston, and I am up for this challenge.
6.1. That, by the way, breaks the record for North American professional sports franchise. It goes back to these a little over $6 million valuation for the Commanders when they sold. And in the same year is when the Phoenix Suns sold for $4 billion. Wow.
I'm trying to figure out how much so the current ownership group.
Yeah, what they buy, what was their.
Let's see. That's telling me the new record. When did they buy it? I'd like to know how much they made on this.
Be interesting. Well, there it is. The Thursday. I'm sweating. Trying to think how quickly that you and I are going to have to get out of here. Make it for the 11:15 tip coming up. Everybody, thank you. Thank you. Get your brackets. We got about 20 minutes left. All right. Rock it. Have a good time. Stay safe. Can't wait to talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a great Thursday. Catch you on a Friday. All
So,
right.
see, I assume here we're talking first day of March Madness, preview Husker baseball for the weekend.
Are we still in the stream?
Are we?
I think it's counting still on my
Oh,
side.
my bad.
Hey, bye.